In the seemingly ordinary suburbs of Springfield, Missouri, a family began to unravel in a way that defied comprehension. What started as a series of tragic and unexpected deaths would soon expose a horrifying scheme, a chilling betrayal orchestrated within the walls of a seemingly normal home. This is the story of the Stout family. We begin in April 2012. 26-year-old Sean Stout, a young man diagnosed with autism who lived at home with his parents and 3 younger sisters, often shared his thoughts on Facebook. His page was an extension of himself, a digital space where he mused about everything from platypuses as pets to recapping episodes of Malcolm in the Middle. Sean also offered glimpses into his home life, and it was through these online posts that the first unsettling signs began to emerge. In early April, Sean's posts took on a new, disturbing focus. His father, Mark Stouty, had begun acting strangely. Mark, a 61-year-old musician in a blues band called Messing with Destiny, was a devoted stay-at-home dad to his children. Music was his passion, a love he shared with his wife Diane, a church organist. But according to Sean's increasingly frequent online updates, Mark was suffering from mental problems that were also weakening his body. "My father is slowly starting to have problems with the driving and accomplishing anything," Sean wrote. "When he drove a car, the car swerved a little bit. I had to help him keep the car direction straight and properly turning." The changes escalated rapidly. Just days later, on April 7th, Sean posted, "My father is slowly getting sicker. His voice is slurred, his walking is wobbly. His body is more tired than normal. He is sleeping in bed longer than us. He may collapse under his weight at any time." The following day, Sean reported that his father had spent half the day in bed, struggling with basic physical tasks. Then, on Monday, April 9th, the chilling announcement came. "My father died. He lived a full life. The cause of death is a stroke. His funeral is this week. His belongings now belong to my sisters." Mark's declining health hadn't gone unnoticed by others. His bandmates in Messing with Destiny had seen him just 2 days before his death during a recording session. They were dismayed to find him uncharacteristically distracted, confused, and slurring his words. They dismissed it as perhaps the result of a poor diet or other unhealthy habits, unaware of the sinister truth unfolding. Mark also suffered from bipolar disorder, which might have initially explained some of his erratic behavior. Despite experiencing lethargy, loss of appetite, and even vomiting, neither Mark nor his family sought medical treatment. Diane Stouty, Mark's wife of 27 years, informed their friends on Facebook that her husband had reached his eternal home. The county medical examiner, observing Mark's body and considering his pre-existing health conditions like diabetes, developing Alzheimer's, liver problems from alcohol, and a history of smoking, concluded that his death was due to natural causes. No tests or autopsy were performed. The family, described as happy and full of love, support, and understanding, was now grieving the sudden loss of their devoted stay-at-home dad. Life, it seemed, had to go on. The $20,000 payout from Mark's modest life insurance policy allowed the family to move to a larger house in a nicer area, a move that Sean enthusiastically documented online. But just 5 months after Mark's unexpected death, tragedy struck the Stout family once more. On Sunday, September 2nd, the family arrived at their weekly church service, but 26-year-old Sean was notably absent. He was bedridden, suffering from weeks of flu-like symptoms, vomiting, headaches, muscle aches, and loss of appetite. Later that day, when his family returned home, they found Sean unconscious on his bedroom floor. A ring of dried blood had formed around his mouth, a horrifying echo of his father's final moments. This time, an autopsy was performed. It revealed that Sean had a congenital kidney defect, signs of brain damage and a stroke, as well as damage to his central nervous system. Given his history of seizures and other health issues, the medical examiner ruled his death as being due to prior medical conditions. The community reeled from the second sudden death in such a short period within the seemingly pious and loving Stout family. 2 days after Sean's death, Diane posted a short tribute to her son on Facebook, noting that they thought he was getting better. Unlike Mark, there was no funeral or memorial to honor Sean's life. Strangely, Diane appeared to be taking the loss of both her husband and son in stride, focusing on her surviving 3 daughters, her music, and her church commitments. Even Rachel, one of Diane's daughters, remarked on her mother's unusual calmness. But the misfortunes of the Stout family were far from over. Just months after Sean's death, 24-year-old Sarah Stout was found unconscious in bed, suffering from severe flu-like symptoms. Diane rushed her to the hospital, but Sarah's condition was dire. Doctors discovered her kidneys had shut down, her pancreas was failing, and her brain was hemorrhaging blood. She had suffered a total body collapse, enduring numerous strokes and seizures. The cause of Sarah's sudden and catastrophic illness remained a mystery despite multiple tests. As news of Sarah's critical condition spread, the Springfield police received a troubling phone call. An anonymous caller, a pastor from the Stouts' church, expressed deep concern over the family's repeated tragedies and Diane's unsettling lack of emotion. He felt something was seriously wrong in the Stout household. This prompted the police to speak with Sarah's doctors, who noted her condition was very suspicious, despite the lack of any trace of drugs or poisons. A nurse added that Diane had only visited Sarah a couple of times, and her behavior was inappropriate, joking and laughing with hospital staff and mentioning a planned vacation to Florida. Detectives began to re-examine the deaths of Mark and Shan. Diane agreed to an interview, seemingly unaware she was under suspicion. She recounted Sarah's initial complaints of a headache and stomach upset, downplaying the severity of her illness. She also mentioned Sarah's unusual sleep schedule and suggested possibilities like self-harm or accidentally ingesting cleaning products, even laughing at the idea of Sarah taking soap. When asked about any potential links between the deaths of Mark and Shan, Diane offered no explanation. But when the detective inquired about Mark's life insurance policy and then Sean's $115,000 payout, Diane's mood began to shift. She became solemn and contemplative. When asked if anyone would want to harm her family, she initially pointed to Mark's weird acquaintances who were into drugs. The detective, sensing Diane was withholding information, appealed to her religious beliefs, urging her to speak honestly. After 2 hours of questioning, Diane's carefully constructed facade crumbled. "To put it really short and sweet," she confessed, "I knew they were drinking antifreeze." Diane admitted to reaching a breaking point, claiming she was tired of working hard while her family took advantage of her. She described Mark as a deadbeat and said she resented having to care for Sean, whose autism she perceived as willful disobedience. She also admitted to killing Sarah because she didn't want to be burdened with her student loan debt. Diane revealed she had researched the harmful qualities of antifreeze online, noting its easy availability, sweet taste, and lack of odor, making it difficult to detect. She confessed to ordering antifreeze online and adding it to Mark's Gatorade and her children's Coca-Cola over several weeks, increasing the dosage when her victims didn't die quickly enough. The truth was far more twisted than anyone could have imagined. But the investigation wasn't over. Diane had confessed, but what about the rest of the family? 22-year-old Rachel Stout agreed to speak with police. Initially, her account of her parents' relationship and Shan's demeanor contradicted Diane's claims. Rachel described Mark as a nice dad, and Shan as low maintenance and content. However, the discovery of Rachel's personal diary in her bedroom revealed a shocking premonition. An entry dated June 11, 2011, nearly a year before their deaths, read, "Sometimes I wish I could avoid the future and keep looking to the past. It's sad when I realize how my father will pass on in the next 2 months, and how Shah, my brother, will move on shortly after. And yet it's really helpful I'm being warned so I have more time to prepare and cope. Also, I get to have Dad's car when he's gone." Confronted with this entry, Rachel initially claimed it was a dream. But as the detectives pressed her, a horrifying truth began to emerge. Rachel admitted that her mother had confided in her about her intention to kill Mark and Shan. Then came the chilling revelation. Rachel confessed that she had helped her mother poison her father, mixing the antifreeze into his drinks twice a day for several weeks. She initially downplayed her involvement, but eventually admitted to participating multiple times. Rachel also confessed to knowing about the plan to kill Shan, and eventually, Sarah. She even admitted that she and Diane had planned to kill their youngest sister Tia as well. The motives were as disturbing as the acts themselves. Rachel claimed Mark was turbulent and abusive, a stark contrast to her diary entries. She found Shan annoying. As for Sarah, Rachel cited her nosiness and past inappropriate behavior as reasons. Rachel even callously stated she didn't want another one to die in the house, because houses are nasty after somebody's died in it. In a miraculous turn of events, Sarah Stout, despite being given a 0% chance of survival, slowly began to recover. She had no memory of being poisoned and denied any involvement in her mother and sister's deadly scheme. The neurological damage she suffered was severe, requiring her to relearn to walk and talk. Diane Stout was ultimately charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of Mark and Sean, as well as first-degree assault and armed criminal action for the poisoning of Sarah. Rachel Stout faced the same charges. In May 2015, Rachel pleaded guilty as part of a deal to testify against her mother, receiving a life sentence with the possibility of parole. In January 2016, Diane also accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to all but the armed criminal action charge to avoid the potential death penalty, and was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Even after her conviction, Diane continued to shift blame, claiming in a 2022 interview that her husband was the target of a hit by dangerous acquaintances. However, investigators found no evidence to support this claim. The diary entries of Rachel Stout served as stark evidence of Diane's manipulative control over her daughter, who became a willing participant in her mother's horrific plan. Sarah Stout, now living in an assisted care facility with a state-appointed guardian, has shown incredible resilience. She campaigns to raise awareness of antifreeze poisoning and lives with the memory of her father and brother, believing their spirits protect her. Though initially angry, Sarah has since chosen forgiveness. The case of the Stout family stands as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. A tale of betrayal, manipulation, and calculated murder, driven by resentment and greed. If you found this story disturbing and insightful, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and follow our channel for more in-depth true crime investigations. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Thank you for listening.